Okey-doke. Okey-doke live. All right. Tonight, all right, we're talking politics and everything. I was the Zoom call for I think it was couldn't remember if it was the Cleveland, one of them, one of the Oklahoma counties, one of the counties had a Zoom call with the congressional. It was for congressional district 4. Anyways, yeah. Is for congressional district 4, and the three were on the three candidates running for congressional district 4 for the Democratic side, or are Madison Horton, Jason Bollinger. I will have to do the Republican side independently. I will not be able to go into the party whatever, because that's only for Republican stuff. They don't allow independents or whatever to go to that, because I'm an independent voter and stuff. Okay, so I am going to just be talking about stuff I wrote down from their website and questions that I emailed them about. In terms, you'll find out. Okay. First off, is Madison Horton. I emailed. She has taken action to bring logic back to politics. Key issues is trust in government, and that's going to be the last thing I talked. Second thing is national defense. In her mission statement, it says that while understanding that a foreign policy best serves Oklahoma, America, and the world, that protects American interest and recognizes our unique role as a leader of the free world. Exactly what role does she see our state playing in this, if any, was the question I asked her. So we'll wait to find out. Next is economic development. On her website, it says that she wants to bring a variety of lasting jobs and workforce opportunities to Oklahomans. But let's be honest, this is cynical me coming out. That's been at this 20-some years of advocating and everything. Sorry, I'm just being so cynical. And I am not intentional about any of this. But let's be honest. Do you really need all Oklahomans? Like TBI, disabilities, PTSD? Because all anybody seems to care about right now is people's skin color or their ethnicity. And I'm not being mean about that. It's just those are TBI, PTSD, and disabilities. Ugh. We're the ones who get left out in the cold by those who are in politics, who anyways, we get left out in the cold by those who are in politics. Okay, next is American prosperity. If I get blanked out or whatever, it's because the connection goes unstable or anything. So just post something to be unstable or another. Next is American prosperity. What is your vision for the next 2 years if you're elected that you hope to do to achieve this? American health advice. No questions. This is just my advice for her. As much as you work to help those of us in the hot. Forget about those of us who have left rehab and re-entered the community. I have drafted resolutions that were adopted in a bill that passed the House and Senate and that the governor vetoed that has led to the creation. It's working on to being created working on to create a TBI Advisory Council for Oklahoma. It's not officially created. We're working on creating it. My nose is itching. Driving me nuts. Ugh. We need more of a voice. Okay. We need more of a voice and deserve to have more done for us. And I do know there's a congressional brain injury task force in DC, and I have been in touch in the past with, with one of the chair people. I forgot how long ago I was in touch with that person. I think it was prior to COVID. I forgot what it was. I just looked at my emails. But I contacted them like ages ago. Immigration reform and humanity. I'm a substitute, and I have seen in the past the effects politics is having on our students. They've seen the way lawmakers behaving and believe they can behave that way in school. Haha, I'm tired of telling on you students. Laugh out loud. I was told this prior to the pandemic in class, and it didn't matter the party line really. So instead, what I do is share at appropriate, if it goes with their lesson, bits of history my grandparents or other family members shared with me when I was substituting history or government. Plus, I like talking to them of being proud of their heritage, whether it's a country from overseas or Native American, with or without the card. I tell them, even though they may not have a card, they should be proud because they may not have a card, but they need to consider the fact they were doing and I'm not talking about them with that don't have a card. I'm referring to the like grandparent or great grandparent or great however far back it goes. For me, it was my grandma, my great grandfather, and his mother, and then great grandpa Archer's grandmother that walked the Trail of Tears, that she signed the 1835 Henderson Roll, and then after she got to Arkansas, she didn't sign the next roll to where give the C.D. Abbey card or whatever. My brain's a little messed up right now. It's talking about so much stuff. I've been listening to too much politics already. But they need to consider the fact they were doing it to protect the family, and it was the only way they felt they could. And trust me, I had to listen to two grandparents, primarily one grandparent, tell me the story of some stuff, and it was heartbreaking. Okay, next we are going to Jason Bollinger, and he's the last one because the third one I don't have on. I think it was he's the on Joe Glenn. She's got stuff on hers, but I was just really confused. And I told the person who was on the Zoom call tonight that I was just overall confused by her stance and on everything. And her issues were voting access, infrastructure, McGirt, women's rights, and those are all important issues. And for the McGirt, I was going to go get my husband because he's full-blood Native American. and ask him some stuff. But in terms of traumatic brain injury and everything, there was like nothing of substance, and ugh, I was just kind of like, ugh. Okay, so we're gonna go to Jason Bollinger now. Affordable health care. Okay, why he's running. This is what we're gonna cover right now. Affordable health care and government that works. And under that issue, I forgot what question exactly I asked, but it was something about traumatic brain injury and how many. I gave him a link to the CDC and gave him a link, sent him a download of uh, off the CDC's website about the those with moderate to severe traumatic brain injuries. So that way he could see the stats and how many sustain. And I don't think it had the number financial, because it's like, I think it's like I think it's more than trillions. It's a very, very big number. It's insane. Because it's like, how can you make affordable health care when families have to deal with that gazillion of numbers in health care with traumatic brain injury and the skyrocketed numbers of medications for traumatic brain injury? And ugh, it's insane. It's just crazy. And it's just nuts. Okay, politician. He says, don't waste our money. It's another reason he's running. And then another reason he's running under politicians, don't spend time dividing us against each other. And then when 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 I put a question under the email, I went, does this apply to lobbyists too? In terms of don't spend time dividing us against each other, does this apply to lobbyists too? I've seen way too many lobbyists that do more time than politicians, than elected officials. Lobbyists do better jobs than elected politicians at dividing people. Ugh. And that was part of the reason why I kind of got out of politics. Ugh. It just drove me nuts. Oklahomans need better infrastructure, improved education system, and security for our nation. And then so much more. And then I asked, like, what? And I asked him to give me 3 more things that he thought um, could be so much more that could be Oklahomans need. All right, now we're going to go into issues that he's running for, or that he cares about. Expanding access to quality, affordable health care. My question to him was, what will you do to help families and TBI survivors who deal with so much in terms of health care? And then I gave him some stats that I sent him that were stats on traumatic brain injury. And those were like too many mind-blowing numbers for me to remember and make my head hurt. Then we got government by the people working for the people. And that's kind of usually people who run for office, they say that, then they get there, and then after a year or two, and then they end up not being. It's kind of like catch 182 or whatever. And then I asked him, what are 3 ways you plan to ensure you hear from your constituents? That I want to know. Because if he's going to give me 3 ways he plans to ensure he is able to hear from constituents, oh, trust me, I'm going to ensure that happens. If he gives me a list by list and he gets elected that he wants to hear from constituents, I will ensure that happens for you traumatic brain injury survivors. I will make sure, I will build a plan. We will get something going, and I'll talk with my contacts in the Brain Injury Alliance of Oklahoma. We will get something going, people. Building a 21st century infrastructure. And I asked him to name 2 ways he plans to ensure this. Then he talks about investing in our future by supporting in our schools and educators. And I asked him what he plans to do to help see that training is set up in the state for teachers on traumatic brain injury. And then I said, everyone just lumps TBI or traumatic brain injury in the disability category, and it should not be. Ugh. Would you consider filing legislation so individuals could mark it that they had a TBI or disability? Because realistically, concussions, I don't know how this goes. Like, if you get a concussion, you don't have a disability, or somebody please come explain this to me. If you have TBI or a disability or both, or you could be like me and have TBI, post-traumatic stress disorder, and multiple disabilities. Then there's securing our nation without abandoning our I can't say the word, abandoning our values. I asked him, how does he plan on securing our nation without abandoning our values? And those were it for him. And I've already told you on that. Okay. Those were all the questions. Then when I was able to write down a little bit of it, but between the fast talking and I had it on the transcript, and I was able to get some stuff written down. So here's a smidge of what the candidate said. Just a smidge. I don't know what I wrote down for. Well, may not have written down whatever. I'll write down I'll type in the links at the end for the candidates. Jason Bollinger, his top 3 things he wants to do if elected is build an economy that works for the working families. Second, ensuring our government works effectively and ethically. 3, rural Oklahomans. And the buttload of that is he wants to address the needs of rural Oklahoma, which I was born and raised in rural Oklahoma. Rock on. The question was, will you align to democratic values? He said yes. No comment. I've just got issues with both parties. That's just my thing. I've got issues with both parties. Somebody needs to go knocking on their heads about stuff that they're not exactly listening to each other, and they don't work together effectively. Because I'd like to scream at them. Because it should be okay to vote for whatever the hell party you want to. You shouldn't need to vote for one straight party. You shouldn't tell a person, okay, if you're going to vote, you can only vote for one party. You're only voting for this party. No, that's not what I'm doing. I'm representing those in the traumatic brain injury community, disability community, post-traumatic stress disorder community. I'm not representing those in either party. Yes, I'm a registered independent voter. I'm not registering one main party. I'm not telling people you've got to vote this certain way. Forget it. I'm telling people, vote for whatever party you feel like voting for. Vote for people in either party. Vote for the person who has the best platform you feel that they're going to address the needs that you want addressed. You need to look at the platforms they are carrying and that they want to establish or whatever when they are elected. And if you want that person elected and see that your values align with their platform, then vote for them. Don't vote for them because they're a party. I am not that person. So if you expect me to be that person going, vote for this person because they're a Republican or a Democrat, do not come to me. I am not that person. I do not do that. If I hear someone say that, this is all I was doing when I heard people say that. Sorry. But you gotta do what you gotta do. Whatever. I'm someone who's for the people. For the people, whatever. Then the third question on healthcare, I really liked Jason's answer. Because born and raised in rural Oklahoma. Again, he's addressing rural Oklahoma. He wants to expand access to rural areas. I still have, I don't think my young little brother that just got married, I don't think he moved to a rural area out in eastern Oklahoma. I know my middle brother still lives in a rural part of this rural area that's next to our hometown. That's basically in the town that I grew up and dance in. Chandler, he lives out in the country. But yes, expand access to rural areas. I'm all for that. I forgot, with all the yakking on immigration, migrant workers, and education, fast talking, I didn't get that stuff written down. But hopefully Jason will email me plenty of stuff that I will be able to talk about once he emails me back. And finally, if you want to, let me post this up in my. I have no clue if the O in Oklahoma is capitalized or not. That's the website for Jason. And then the email for Jason, if you want to email him questions and find out where he stands and everything. This one. There you go. There is Jason's email. Let me real quick see if. I may have put it at the end for the. I may have put it at the end when the Congressional District for 4 meets. Let's real quick. Yeah, I did. so I can get your information on that stuff at the end. Okay, now we're going to go to Madison Horton. Make sure I put her stuff, because I know I wrote it down. Yay! Okay, let me go ahead and put Madison's stuff in before I forget. Okay, her website. That's Madison's website. And then this is her email if you want to find out where she stands on issues. Okay. And then I'll put Joe. Credited. Oh, I didn't get Joe's email, but I got her website. I'll put Joe's real quick. Before my head starts hurting. Talking all this politics. I have no clue if it's the number 4 or the actual word 4. So I don't know if it's this. I don't know if it's that, or I'll just put the other one just in case, because I don't know which one it is. I have no clue which one it is, because I forgot to go look on the transcript. Okay, so I'm just going to go to, now we're going to go to Madison's answers that she gave. And I'm not going to tell you it was my favorite, so you pioneers can just deal with it. And don't ask me when I come subbing after spring break, because I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell anyone. No one's getting any inside skips from me. Sorry. Not. Okay. Her on stuff where she stands and everything. Really a system. Come to a place of unity. Bring people together. Unification, economy, workforce needs. Workforce in rural areas. I like the rural areas. Anything that deals with the rural, I like. Families from the rural area. What we need from an education perspective, on the Democratic National Platform thing, accept and follow the Democratic National Platform, absolutely. She wouldn't say the word always, and she wants to think about the people in the state, current landscape, our own values, which I really liked. I really like that she didn't want to say the word always. I hate the word always. Because that's like saying the words that you're going to accept and follow the platform and da-da-da-da, and not, because there's always going to be like loopholes with every little thing that you find in the platforms of stuff. It's kind of like someone's got a ring around your neck and going, you got to do this. Please. I find loopholes in everything. Focus on women's health, just health equity, creating health access, proper access to all marginalized groups. She said more stuff on the last 2 questions, but I think my head was hurting at that point. Okay. The Joe Glenn, she is Oklahoma history teacher at Rogers High School. Real quickly, The second Sunday at 6 p.m. every month on Zoom is when the congressional district for Congressional District 4 meets. That's when the chairs or whatever, but anyone's welcome to go. You just need to contact your party chair, uh, uh, let them know you want to attend or something, um, like that. Uh, I believe is what was mentioned on the call. Uh, I only got one question right now because I was mind boggled on the rest. Okay. Um, Plans on defending democracy, People Act, John Lewis Voting Rights Act. She plans on being a senator who consistently votes for legislation and for appointments, creating fair economy that works for all economy, raise minimum wage. That one I took issue with. How can you raise a minimum wage? Because that one is essentially going to screw with those screw life for those of us with TBI, PTSD, and uh, disabilities who get SSI. I don't get SSI, so but I used to because nobody has raised the income tax bracket, and SSI like depends on how much you make and everything, and nobody thinks of us. The first thing, the only thing that ever gets talked about that I ever hear on the news that gets talked about when it comes to Social Security is the elderly. And trust me, I loved my grandparents to pieces. They were my best friends when they were alive, and may they rest in peace and everything. But the only thing that gets talked about was the elderly. And my grandparents, may they rest in peace, were majorly unnerved because they were wanting my issues discussed once I sustained my brain injury. Because I did not like that my issues were not getting heard when I was talking about it and trying to find a way to get heard and everything. Because my grandparents were teaching me about politics and stuff like that and what happened when they were growing up and stuff during World War I and II and the former presidents and everything. But how can you raise minimum wage when nobody wants to raise Social Security and do anything to help, truly help those with TBI, PTSD, and disabilities? And yes, they want to help TBI. Okay, give me an example. They want to help those with TBI only in hospital, but once we leave the hospital setting, oh, forget. We don't need help. We'll just leave it to Social Security or the departments or whatever. We don't need any, um, oh, the other things. We don't need any community help. As if we need programs. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I've been working on doing it. And I've been blessed, extremely blessed, to have lawmakers, whether they've been former or current, that have taught me and have helped me with learning how to help me learn how to represent those in the traumatic brain injury community so that way I can know how to get this stuff going and get it done. Because they essentially told me why things were not getting done and getting passed. And so I told them, okay, if things are not going to get done the way it needs to get done, you tell me how it needs to get done, and I'm going to do it. That's essentially why I'm doing it. And I told them, show me how to do it, and I'll help you guys do your job. So, but I've been blessed that extremely blessed that Trish Ranson was elected representative for district. Oh gosh, please say I get the district right for Payne County. Okay, is it 34? Or I don't think, or I don't, it's like 33 or 34 in Payne County. Um, I know John Town's one and then Trish is the other. Um, but Trish has been an extremely wonderful advocate for traumatic brain injury and has helped me with being able to carry the bills that I've drafted and getting things done and getting the issues heard and working with the other lawmakers and being able to communicate with the state legislature and the new elected officials and helping me learn what I need to do and helping me connect with other, whether it be agencies or what have you and stuff. So for that much, I'm grateful. So she rocks and everything. So, but that is all from the political standpoint and everything. And I'm going to end before my face starts going numb, like it did that one time when I was discussing a whole bunch of stuff on, I think it was TBI or my comics, and my entire face started going numb. Ugh. I don't want that to start going to happen again. So, and I hope everyone's doing wonderful. You got the contact information, you got the websites for the candidates, and when there's more political stuff going on, I will go to them. I will attend them as much as I can, and we'll see what goes on. And let's get out and advocate, guys. We have a voice.